it to the finals.
Well, the Heat are a very good team, Skip. They play hard. They make timely shots. They don't beat themselves. And I think that's the thing that Boston is doing is that they're beating themselves. 20 turnovers. You can't turn the ball over 20 times, Skip. You look at the offensive rebound and you say, well, Miami only out-rebounded 11-6, but then you go to the second half, it was 8-2. Well, that's where you're losing the game. Skip, you're up 5, and then all of a sudden you get careless with the ball, Jimmy Butler steals it. You're taking the ball inbound, you're going to probably try to get a great look. You throw it, Jimmy Butler tips it back, he gets a dunk on the other end. You can't turn the ball over against this team. And I thought the Celtics got really careless last night. They started celebrating at the half. Oh, yeah, we got this one. Yeah, I knew they wasn't that tough. Miami is a scrappy, tough, hard-nosed ball club. And, Skip, if you look at down the stretch, look at every shot that needed to be made. They made it. Dragic had a guy had Tice in his face, and he drained the 27.
At the clock.
Yes. I mean, that little lefty, they can't stop him. He's getting to the bucket, off the glass. You see Olynyk, he throws up a rainbow as time goes off the clock, and he banks it in. Sometimes, Skip, you just look to the coach. Coach, what do you want me to do? You see the man throw a 30-footer off the glass with time running out. The Heat's nothing to be played with. They took down the team that had the best record in all of basketball, and they took them down in 5 games. And they made the guy that's probably going to win the MVP look very mundane, very average, very ordinary. They have the ability to do that. That zone caused Milwaukee problem. But, Skip, if you look at the Celtics, they had 3 guys. They had 3 guys with 21 or more points. I don't really know. They shot 50% from the 4. They shot 35% from the 3. But where they're losing the ball game is turnovers. You can't give a team that plays as hard as Miami, that shoots the 3 as well as Miami, you cannot give them extra cracks at you. Because if you do, they're going to beat you. I don't believe the Lakers, at this juncture, you're at the Final Four. You know all 4 teams are damn good. And you know, if you don't play your best, you're going to get beat because, Skip, you've taken the element of home court really out of it. You're basically in an empty gym with family and friends watching you play. That's what this is. And so can Miami beat the Lakers? Yes. But I would sure love to see that matchup. I'm just hoping the Lakers take care of their end of the agreement, the Heat take care of their end of the agreement, and we'll see what happens at the end of the day.
Sounds like you're front running to me.
There you go, front running. No. The front running Kings are home.
The Miami Heat are now 10-1 in the playoffs. That's like Kobe Shaq dominant Lakers.
Yes.
That's like dynastic role. 10-1?
Yeah.
How are they doing this? They are now sneakily the Fox Bet second choice to the Lakers in win-it-all odds. The Lakers are prohibitive favorites at 4-9. Outrageous prohibitive. But sitting there at 7-2, second choice, the sneaky Heat. They just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
I have become a Heat fan, but I saw them coming a little sooner than you did. They demolished what I thought was a pretty good Indiana team.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
They were playing at a pretty high level as they came into the bubble. And
well, especially once they got in the bubble. Remember T.J. Warren?
Just went crazy.
He did.
And all of a sudden, he disappeared against this team.
Yes.
Because this team, it will defend you. I didn't see much zone actually against Milwaukee, but last night in the second half, they went to it, and they went to it full force, and it took Boston completely out of what it did. So when that game ended last night, I thought of one of my favorite 60s rock and roll songs by a group called Buffalo Springfield. Probably not your...
No, I don't know if I know.
Buffalo Springfield. It was actually a protest song back in the days when white cops were brutalizing and killing white kids who were hippies.
Right.
Okay? And the first 2 lines of the song are, something's happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear.
I didn't know who sung the song, but I've heard of it.
The song's called For What It's Worth, which is a ridiculous title because it was a toss-off song that became a huge hit.
It did.
Something's happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. That's what I think of this team. I can't quite figure out how it's happening, but they are a blast and a joy to watch because they play basketball.
They do.
They do it right. They play both ends as hard as you can play it with no ego. They have lots of cogs, and Jimmy Butler can score 14 points last night and be totally content because he made several plays down the stretch that won the game.
And that's what should be concerning to the Boston Celtics. You had a 17-point lead. Their best player only had 14 points, and you still couldn't hold on.
Correct. So if I look at the final box, and I didn't know the final score, I would think Boston won fairly easily because I'm looking at, you pointed out, they shot 50%. They shot 10 more free throws. They had 3 more rebounds. There is that one little category over to the far right, 20-9 turnovers.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the difference in the game.
Yep.
But now let's look at one of the weirdest games I've ever watched. How do you explain this? Because all of a sudden, for the first time in the playoffs, the Miami Heat look flat and dead in the water in the second quarter.
They look very ordinary.
Blown off the floor.
Yep.
It's 29-19.
Yep.
And then they turn it right around, playing zone in the third quarter, and they blow the Celtics off the floor 37-17.
Correct.
That's impossible.
Yep.
The Celtics are too good.
Yes.
I remind everybody, the Celtics have been favored in each of the first 3 games.
Right.
Game 3 is about to be played. But they were 3-point favorite in game 1, 2.5 last night, and they're 3 again for game 3.
Right.
So the odds makers are saying, wait, Boston's a little bit better. A little bit better? No. They're down 2-0.
Right.
So then what happens? 37-17 happens in the third quarter, but then in the middle of the fourth quarter, wait a second, the Heat give up a 15-2 run to Boston. So they have the game in hand, they're up 8, and all of a sudden they're down by 5 because they can't stop the Celtics. And Kemba hits a 3 to put them up 5. And I'm thinking, wait a second, how can that be? And so then what happens in the end? Then they go on a 17-7 run to close the game. So the game is just wildly swinging like this.
A game of runs.
Like huge runs, ridiculous runs, because the run that got them back in the game was actually 32-10. They went on a run against a really good Boston team.
Skip, if you look at in the third quarter, Bam had 4 points in the first half. He has 15 in the third quarter, and they make 5 threes. That's basically it. That's it. They make 5 threes and bam.
Okay, but bam, they give up a 15-2 run and they're down 5 with 4:15 left. And I'm thinking, you're dead again.
Yeah.
You're done.
I mean,
right?
because Skip Bam is getting and ones.
Yeah.
I mean, he's dunking and one. He's laying it up off the glass and one. And it's like they're gonna have to find a way to do something with Bam.
Yep.
I mean,
But
look,
he's a player, man.
He
He's
is
a basketball player.
He does it. He does it all. He's really, they say Jimmy, but it's really Bam. Because Bam does it all. Bam rebounds, he blocks shots, he picks and set great picks, he rolls to the back, pick and roll. So Bam does some of everything. Now Jimmy, they follow Jimmy's lead. Jimmy is the guy that says, okay, calls the huddle, he's the quarterback. Okay, stop the bull jive. Let's go play basketball.
Their mental stability comes from him because he's a made man.
Yes.
Not that he's won championships, but he's been in big games.
Right.
And he's seen as a force, like a leader who takes nothing off nobody. So they look to him like, you know how to do this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we got this.
And they'll see him, he's willing to take the challenge. And Skip, everybody doesn't want that challenge. Jason Tatum had it going, and Jimmy's like, okay, I'll take it. He gave him some buckets, but he's fighting him tooth and nail.
He fought him.
And Skip, like I said, I'm looking at Boston. I'm looking at Skip. They had what? 4 guys scoring double figures. The top 3 guys get 23, 21, 21. They don't shoot bad from the field. One is 8 of 14, 6 of 12. Kimball was 9 of 19. But when you get that kind of production from your big 3, and Jimmy Butler only has 14, and you still lose. Skip, that's demoralizing.
Which is why Marcus Smart in the post-game locker room threw a fit. He said he was screaming at everybody. It sounded like maybe a chair got thrown.
So y'all know that bull jive.
Yeah, he walked out the door mad and went down to the restroom. And I get it, because that's what this team will do to your psyche. You're like, how did we lose that game?
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at those 2 steals. They're 2 late steals by Jimmy Butler that swung this game. And the first one was with 3:44 left. And And check this play out. Watch what a play this is in two different ways. He goes out of bounds behind the back and saves it and comes back in and dunks it.
Yeah.
Now that's a play. That's one that you talk about demoralized.
Remember, Skip, Boston's up 3 now with the ball.
God, this cuts it to 1. Yeah, they're up 3 with the ball with 3:44 to go. Whew. And then here we go again. Oh, that's that one. Then he's got another steal with 128. Yeah, inbounds from Marcus Smart, believe it or not. And he knocks the ball away, and he retrieves the ball, and he gets it right to Jay Crowder, makes the textbook pass. Boom. And that puts them up 7. That ended it basically right there, it felt like. Whew. Okay, those are winning plays.
Yes.
That's the guy who's going to do things that don't count in the 14 points that you say, oh, that's how they won the game.
Right. Because we know what he's capable of, because we've seen him go get 40 against the Bucks. We saw that. And was it against the Bucks or maybe it was against Indiana? But we've seen him have a 40-point playoff game, which is a career high. And then we see him do all the other things.
He seems to just watch the game.
Right.
Sort of he processes, do I need to score or do I need to defend or do I need to steal the ball? And he does what is necessary.
Right.
Goran Dragic is playing out of his mind. It's the best I've ever seen him play, and I've been watching him for a long time. But if we could see the shot that you talked about, it's just a killer. It's a psychological killer.
You got it dead right, like, oh, yeah.
You're at the clock. They're going to run the clock out here, and he's stuck, and Tice is on him. He got the switch. I'm stuck. The clock's going to run out.